Welcome to Pax Europiana, this time again from Frankfurt here, and about the Belarusian refugee crisis. I would like to call the German and the Austrian authorities to have a different approach. Today it is again another very cold winter day in the middle of November, and dramatically there's about up to 18,000 it's estimated in the whole territory of Belarus, and it's time to be compassionate. We have all the means to defuse the current crisis, and that's what we should do. And it's rather simple. We put the people in buses to Germany and Austria, the most serious countries in the European Union. And if the Swedes, the Dutch and the French do not contribute, then, we have the level of seriousness that is assessed of these countries. Then please don't talk and don't stop us doing the right thing, because it's necessary to defuse this current crisis with Russia. And Ukraine should also be helpful on that one, because the war which Russia is threatening will be taking place in Ukrainian territory. It will be a further land grab towards Ukraine as a revenge. So we have all the interests not to give any kind of incident that is justifying war. And the Russians are ready for that. So we can easily defuse the situation. It is not a problem. We have all the resources, all the place, all the capacities prepared from 2016. So we just convert them, and it's a very minor, small amount of number. And it's not true that then suddenly half of Iraq and half of Afghanistan will be at our doorsteps. No, it is not true, because we can block and we should, and we are doing that actually. I have called for it a year ago, to block the airspace over Belarus, to the access towards via the European Union. No airplane can go via the EU airspace over with the destination of to Minsk. No, not a single one, as long as they behave like that. And of course, there can be from Russia some people traveling towards Belarus and then continue this crisis. But the amount of the ability to transport so many people after all the things we have now done also in Baghdad and all the attention which was now raised, it's very limited. So to claim that there will be every month 18,000 people, no. We have now the moral and historic and political and strategic obligation to be compassionate and to behave according to the European values. 9 people were frozen yesterday already, and maybe more people will have been frozen this night. And this is utterly unacceptable in the European continent of 2021, and it is also in the past. And never this is acceptable behavior, and never, and no matter what kind of religion or origin, any person, any human being. I mean, this is out. We claim to save the world in 50 years with climate change, have animal rights legislation and everything, and then we let people die from freezing at our doorsteps, and then we claim it's a hybrid war. What kind of hybrid war? It's okay, it's a hybrid war, but wanna risk a real war with Russia for this? Be compassionate. It's extremely silly of the Polish authority to escalate this in war style kind of threat levels. Let the people in. Yeah, anyhow nobody is interested to stay in Poland. I mean, last week they were just telling us what to do, the Polish, and they were behaving shitty against Europe, outrageous. They are not doing the euro as I proposed in a compromise style. They are really outrageous, and now they are defending Europe by resulting in a war with Russia. What kind of defense of Europe is that? It's utterly nonsensical what the Polish are doing, and I'm upset about them. But I was never a fan of this Peace Poland since 2005, when they have done these populistic anti-flat tax things, and I called them on record. I think this email is still that. At that time it was only email, no this other communication mode. But I called them enemy of freedom, and they are. And I will pray to God that Tusk will chase them out of power in Poland, because they are really messing everything up and creating only bad policy. And I call for the Eurozone for Poland and for Tusk and for decency. And obviously what we face in Belarus is Anschluss style scenario. It's gone. We lost it. We should have Tikhanovskaya recognized already a year ago officially as the president. And if the EU is not inviting her to the ERP summit in December, in the 15th of December, I really cannot help anybody anymore. It's really outrageous that we are on the one hand so soft, on the other hand we are very hard to poor people. We are very soft to Putin. we certify his pipeline, because don't forget, the whole crisis is, Belarus is just a minor side of the whole thing. The whole thing is this escalation now, the second one, when Russia builds up troops at the Ukrainian border in order to get its will in Europe. It is about Nord Stream 2, the certification. And that's the reason why we have this current crisis. And of course we cannot be into submission, bullied into submission by Russian tanks again. The June crisis was about the summit, and he got the summit. And now he wants the pipeline, and he again uses military force, the threat of military force, and also this refugee crisis, which they produced artificially. As, by the way, he produced the other one when he bombed the cities in Syria in 2015 in order to drive the people to Turkey and to Europe later. So some of the political commentators seem to have forgotten this is the standard pattern in the last decade, since the Syrian crisis and the Second Cold War has started. Anyhow, it is really disappointing the level of leadership we have in the European Union. Poland, anyhow, a disaster. And obviously we are clueless and without strategy. And I can only offer here this kind of videos as a kind of effort to speed up the strategic reorientation of Europe, to be harder on our enemies and softer to the poor people who want to have our help. And again, I say here in Frankfurt, 18,000 more Iraqis, not a problem. Most of them are educated. Most of them are not coming they are not farmers, and even farmers are good people. There is a lot of people already here, and they contribute to the economy. So I cannot understand our foolish policy on this crisis to be looking in world opinion as idiots. Because we are also judged then by the Iraqi opinion, by the Chinese opinion, by the Arab opinion. On the one hand, we go to make meetings with the Arab Secretary General, as Michel now, and say, yes, okay, good, we are so friendly, but then we treat the people like shit and we let them freeze. And when an Iraqi family or a Morocco family or anybody in the world, is then watching television in the evening and they see this kind of behavior of the European Union, what do you think? It's outrageous. Anyhow, I'm very disappointed again on our lack of leadership, and this is also one of the results which of course Russia wants, because our elites then are disappointed by their own elite, by the political institutions' performance, and so we somehow undermine ourselves, and this is of course also very problematic. But I cannot help but being disappointed by the weak performance of our institutions, the lack of compassion, strategy. There is not an effort of smartness, and that's very disappointing. Anyhow, just a short update. I'm now going back to Austria. I will publish the Moldova open letter I have published. I do these letters now in German to have more wider reach in the Austrian media. That's where I come from. I also try to publish it then in Germany, but I need to go into the various languages as well. So I have this, now it's the Moldovan open letter, then the Ukrainian one, and then this series will be finished, and I will be very busy with other things. But that's the current update, and that's what I'm going to do. So best regards from Frankfurt. Was really very nice here. And yes, maybe some comments on Germany as well. There's a country without wireless access for tourists. It's a country where the employers cannot check the vaccination status, and then the employees die. So they protect the data, they protect some theoretical rights, but people dying and people have no services. This is Germany today. It's a bit messy, and I'm very disappointed. It's very far from a modern Germany, which I was also thinking that Merkel should deliver in Leipzig, but she did not. A lot of, nothing is going smooth here very much in terms of what is standard in Southeastern Europe, and I'm very negatively surprised. The longer I stay here, the more I wonder how rich this country can be with such a rusty system, antiquated, but somehow it works. But imagine how rich Germany could be if it would be really a much more open and much more well-organized and reasonable approach towards data protection, towards worker protection, and to join modernity. That would be really cool. Anyhow, more to come on that and much more in the future on podcast, Twitter and Substack now as well. I do a lot of writing on Substack, and I will also publish further articles. Just this week I was published in the Austrian Die Presse with the openness for the labor market. That was a big success for me. Thanks a lot to Die Presse, and more to come. Okay, thanks from Pax Europiana for more prosperity and security and peace in Europe. Thanks a lot. Bye.